Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into a super important topic for all you cat lovers out there. Like, seriously important. We're talking about those furry little weirdos that share our homes and our lives, and how to tell if they're feeling under the weather. Because let's be real, cats are basically furry little ninjas when it comes to hiding their pain. They'll be all I'm fine, I'm cool, just chillin' here licking my butt, when inside they're like, my stomach hates me, and I'm pretty sure my tail is possessed. So we're talking about the 5 key characteristics of a sick cat that you need to recognize. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. We're going to break it down so you can be the best, most observant cat parent ever. Okay, first up, let's talk about lethargy. You know how your cat usually acts, right? Maybe they're a little demon, bouncing off the walls at 3 a.m., or maybe they're more of a distinguished lounger, gracefully moving from sunbeam to sunbeam. Whatever their normal is, you know it. So when your cat suddenly transforms into a furry little couch potato, that's a major red flag. Like if they're usually all about that playtime, chasing laser pointers like it's their job, and suddenly they can't even be bothered to bat at a toy mouse, something's up. It's like, imagine if I stopped making YouTube videos and just stayed in bed all day, surrounded by empty pizza boxes and muttering to myself about the impending robot uprising. You'd be like, Jenna, girl, get it together, something's wrong. And it's the same with your cat. If they're usually active and playful, and then bam, they're Mr. or Miss Sleepy Pants, it's time to pay attention. This could be a sign of anything from a simple cold to something more serious. Now, I'm not saying you need to rush your cat to the vet every time they take a nap. Cats love to sleep. It's like their favorite hobby. But if you notice a drastic change in their energy levels, like they're sleeping way more than usual or they just seem blah, it's definitely worth a call to your vet. Remember, you know your cat best. You're their person, their confidant, the keeper of the treats. So trust your gut. If something seems off, it probably is. And when in doubt, always err on the side of caution and check with your vet. All right, next up, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, food. Or in this case, the lack thereof. Just like with their energy levels, you know your cat's eating habits better than anyone. You know how much they usually eat, what their favorite foods are, and whether they're a grazer who nibbles throughout the day, or a gorger who inhales their food in 0.5 seconds flat. So, when their eating habits change, it's a big deal. And I'm not just talking about them turning their nose up at the fancy new salmon-flavored kibble you got them, although let's be real, cats are picky little jerks sometimes. I'm talking about significant changes, like if they're suddenly eating way more than usual, or, even more concerning, if they're barely eating at all. Think about it, if you suddenly lost your appetite or, conversely, couldn't stop raiding the fridge, you'd be like, whoa, something's up with my body. Cats are the same way. A sudden change in appetite can be a sign of all sorts of things, from dental problems to stress to, you guessed it, more serious illnesses. So keep an eye on that food bowl, my friend. If your cat goes from vacuuming up their food to barely touching it, or if they're suddenly acting like they haven't eaten in days, even though you just filled their bowl, it's time to put on your detective hat and figure out what's going on. And by put on your detective hat, I mean call your vet. Because let's be honest, we're all just cat parents trying our best here, and sometimes we need a little help from the professionals. Okay, let's talk about the not-so-fun stuff, vomiting and diarrhea. I know, it's gross. But it's also important, so bear with me. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the hairball on the rug. Cats puke. It's just a fact of life. They're constantly grooming themselves, swallowing all that fur, and sometimes it decides to make a reappearance. It's gross, but it's usually not a big deal. Diarrhea, on the other hand, is a little trickier. If your cat has a one-off episode of the runs, it might just be something they ate. Maybe they got into the trash, or maybe they discovered a hidden stash of catnip and went a little overboard. But if the diarrhea is persistent, like we're talking more than a day or two, or if it's accompanied by other symptoms like blood in their stool, lethargy, or loss of appetite, then it's time to hit the panic button. Or, just call your vet, but with a sense of urgency. See, the thing is, both vomiting and diarrhea can be signs of a whole host of things, from infections to parasites to, you guessed it, more serious illnesses. So, while the occasional hairball or upset tummy is nothing to freak out about, if you notice any of those red flags I mentioned, don't wait around to see if it gets better on its own. Get thee to a vet, my friend. Your cat will thank you for it. Or, they'll probably just glare at you and act like you're the one who forced them into the carrier, but deep down, they'll appreciate it. Probably. All right, let's move on to something a little less disgusting: grooming habits. Now, we all know cats are basically furry little narcissists. They love to groom themselves like it's their favorite pastime after napping and judging us. Seriously, they can spend hours licking and grooming themselves to perfection. So when their grooming habits change, it's definitely something to pay attention to. And I'm not just talking about them missing a spot or two. I'm talking about noticeable changes, like if they suddenly stop grooming altogether and start looking all matted and disheveled, or if they start over-grooming to the point where they're licking themselves bald. Now, there are a few reasons why a cat's grooming habits might change. Sometimes it's a sign of stress or anxiety, like if you just moved to a new house, or if there's been a new addition to the family, furry or otherwise, your cat might start neglecting their grooming routine. Other times, it can be a sign of pain or illness. For example, if your cat has arthritis, they might have trouble grooming themselves because it hurts to bend and twist their body. Or, if they have dental problems, grooming might be painful because it puts pressure on their sore gums. The point is, changes in grooming habits are often a sign that something's up, and it's important to figure out what that something is. So if you notice your cat's looking a little less than pristine, or if they're suddenly obsessed with licking themselves, don't just chalk it up to them being a cat. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about respiratory issues. This one's important, guys, so listen up. You know how cats are usually pretty quiet creatures? Like, they might meow for food or attention, or maybe they'll chirp at birds outside the window, but for the most part, they're pretty low-key. So when your cat suddenly starts sounding like a tiny chainsaw, it's definitely cause for concern. I'm talking about things like coughing, sneezing, wheezing, or having trouble breathing. Basically, anytime your cat's having trouble getting air in and out of their lungs, it's a big deal. Respiratory issues can be caused by a whole bunch of things, from allergies to infections to, you guessed it, more serious illnesses. And just like with humans, respiratory problems in cats can range from mild to life-threatening. So, if you notice your cat coughing, sneezing, or wheezing more than usual, or if they're having trouble breathing, don't wait around to see if it gets better on its own. This is one of those times when you need to channel your inner helicopter cat parent and get them to the vet ASAP. Trust me, when it comes to respiratory issues, it's always better to err on the side of caution. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more pet care tips. Remember, you're the expert on your own cat. You know their quirks, their routines, and their little personalities better than anyone. So trust your gut. If something seems off, it probably is. And when in doubt, always err on the side of caution and check with your vet. They're the professionals, after all, and they're there to help you keep your furry little weirdo happy and healthy. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or if there's a topic you'd like me to cover next. See you in the next video.